You know, there's a voice inside you right now. It's been there your whole life, whispering to you, guiding you, nudging you in certain directions. Most people ignore it. They push it aside because they're too busy listening to all the other voices, the voices of doubt, the voices of fear, the voices of what other people think they should do. But that quiet voice, that gentle knowing that comes from somewhere beyond your thinking mind, that's the voice of God speaking directly to you through your intuition. And I want to talk to you about this because it's the most important conversation you'll ever have with yourself. It's about learning to trust that inner knowing, that feeling in your gut that tells you yes or no before your mind even has time to analyze it. That's not just some random feeling. That's divine guidance. That's the universe. That's God. That's the highest part of yourself communicating with you in the only way that bypasses all the noise and confusion of your everyday thinking. Think about the times in your life when you knew something without knowing how you knew it. You met someone and instantly felt you could trust them. Or maybe you felt the opposite. A warning bell went off inside you, even though on the surface everything seemed fine. You were about to make a decision, and something inside you said, wait, not yet, or go now, this is your moment. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was intuition. That was God speaking to you in a language that doesn't use words. Most of us have been trained from childhood to ignore this inner voice. We've been taught to rely only on logic, only on what we can see and measure and prove. We've been told to listen to authorities, to experts, to anyone but ourselves. And so we've learned to override that inner knowing. We've learned to talk ourselves out of what we feel in our hearts. We say things like, I'm just being silly, or that's not logical, or what will people think? And in doing so, we disconnect from the very source of wisdom that's trying to guide us toward our highest good. But here's what I want you to understand. Your intuition is not separate from God. It's not separate from the creative intelligence that runs the entire universe. The same force that causes a seed to become a tree, that causes your heart to beat without you thinking about it, that organizes galaxies and seasons and the perfect timing of everything in nature, that same intelligence is inside you, speaking to you, guiding you, if only you'll listen. When you get a feeling about something, when you have a hunch, when something just feels right or wrong to you, that's not random. That's information coming from a source that knows more than your conscious mind knows. Your conscious mind only knows what it's learned, what it's been taught, what it's experienced. But your intuition is connected to infinite intelligence. It knows things your mind hasn't learned yet. It sees patterns your eyes can't see. It understands connections that your logical brain can't figure out. And the beautiful thing is everyone has this. It's not a gift that only special people have. It's not something you need to develop or earn. It's already there. It's been there since the day you were born. In fact, watch little children. They're completely guided by their intuition. They know when they're tired, when they're hungry, what makes them happy, who they want to be around. They haven't learned yet to second guess themselves, to analyze everything to death, to worry about what everyone else thinks. They just follow their inner guidance naturally. But then we grow up, and we get taught to distrust that inner voice. We get taught to fit in, to follow the rules, to do what's expected, to be practical, to be realistic. And slowly, bit by bit, we learn to disconnect from our intuition. We learn to ignore it. We learn to make decisions based on what we think we should do rather than what we feel called to do. And then we wonder why we feel lost. We wonder why we feel like something's missing. We wonder why we're not happy even though we're doing everything we're supposed to do. The reason is simple. We've cut ourselves off from our guidance system. We're trying to navigate life without the compass that was built into us. We're trying to find our way using only our thinking mind, which is limited, which is based on past experiences and conditioning, which is full of fears and doubts and other people's opinions. And our thinking mind alone is not enough. It will lead us in circles. It will keep us stuck in patterns that don't serve us. It will convince us to play it safe, to stay small, to avoid taking the risks that our soul is calling us to take. But when you learn to listen to your intuition, when you learn to trust that inner voice, everything changes. Suddenly you have access to wisdom that goes beyond anything you've learned in books or schools. You have access to guidance that's perfectly tailored to you, to your unique path, to your specific circumstances. You have access to a knowing that always points you toward your highest good. Now, let me be clear about something. Your intuition doesn't speak to you the way your thinking mind speaks to you. Your thinking mind is loud. It talks constantly. It analyzes, it judges, it worries, it plans, it rehashes the past, it projects into the future. It's like a radio that's always on, always chattering away. But your intuition is quiet. It's subtle. It's a feeling, a knowing, a gentle nudge. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't try to convince you. It just presents itself and then waits patiently for you to notice it. This is why so many people miss it. They're waiting for some loud, dramatic sign. They're waiting for God to speak to them in thunder and lightning. But God doesn't work that way. God speaks in whispers. God speaks in feelings. God speaks in that still small voice that you can only hear when you quiet your mind and turn your attention inward. And here's the thing about intuition. It always speaks in the present moment. It doesn't dwell on the past. It doesn't worry about the future. It simply tells you what's true right now, what's right for you right now, what you need to know right now. Your thinking mind loves to time travel. It's constantly replaying yesterday or rehearsing tomorrow. But your intuition is anchored in the now, because that's where God is, that's where life is, that's where your power is. So how do you learn to hear this voice more clearly? How do you strengthen your connection to your intuition? The first step is to get quiet. You've got to create space in your life for silence, for stillness, for just being instead of constantly doing. This is why meditation is so powerful. It's not about achieving some special state or having mystical experiences. It's simply about quieting your thinking mind long enough that you can hear the other voice, the intuitive voice, the voice of your higher self. You don't need to meditate for hours. Even 5 minutes of sitting quietly, breathing, letting your thoughts settle, that's enough to begin building this connection. Think of it like tuning a radio. When there's too much static, you can't hear the music. But when you tune the dial just right, suddenly the music comes through crystal clear. That's what happens when you quiet your mind. The static of your thoughts dies down, and you can hear the signal of your intuition coming through. The second step is to pay attention to how your body feels. Your intuition speaks through your body. It gives you feelings. Some people feel it in their gut. That's why we call it a gut feeling. Some people feel it in their chest, in their heart. Some people feel it as a tingling or a warmth or a sense of expansion when something is right, and a sense of contraction or heaviness when something is wrong. Your body is constantly giving you feedback about what's aligned for you and what isn't. But you have to tune in. You have to notice. Start asking yourself, how does this feel? Not, what do I think about this? But how does this feel? When you're making a decision, when you're considering different options, pause and check in with your body. Does this option make you feel light and open and energized? Or does it make you feel heavy and tight and drained? Your body knows. Your body is receiving information from your intuition all the time. You just have to learn to read the signals. The third step is to trust what you receive, even when it doesn't make logical sense. This is the hardest part for most people. Your intuition might tell you to turn left when logic says turn right. It might tell you to wait when everyone else says hurry up. It might tell you to go for something when your mind says it's impossible. And you have to be willing to trust it anyway. This doesn't mean you become reckless or ignore practical considerations. It means you give your intuition equal weight, maybe even more weight, than your logical analysis. It means you're willing to act on inner guidance even when you can't explain it, even when you can't justify it to other people, even when it doesn't fit into your plans or your timeline. And here's what happens when you start doing this. At first, you might feel uncertain. You might question yourself. You might wonder if you're just making things up. But if you stick with it, if you keep following those intuitive nudges, you'll start to see results. Things will work out in ways you couldn't have planned. Opportunities will show up at just the right time. You'll avoid problems that you didn't even know were there. You'll meet people who are exactly who you needed to meet. And gradually, you'll build trust in this inner guidance system. Every time you follow your intuition and it leads you to something good, your trust deepens. Every time you ignore your intuition and regret it later, you learn to take it more seriously next time. It's a relationship you're building, a relationship with the highest, wisest part of yourself, with the divine intelligence that's always looking out for you. Now, I want to address something important. Some people worry that if they follow their intuition, they'll become flaky or irresponsible. They worry that intuition is just another word for wishful thinking or self-indulgence. But that's not what intuition is at all. Real intuition never leads you towards something that harms you or others. It never tells you to be cruel or selfish or destructive. That's not intuition. That's ego, that's fear, that's desire masquerading as intuition. Real intuition always leads you toward love, toward growth, toward your highest good and the highest good of everyone involved. It might lead you out of your comfort zone. It might ask you to make changes that feel scary. It might require you to disappoint some people or go against convention. But it will never lead you towards something that's truly harmful. It will never lead you away from your integrity. So how do you tell the difference between intuition and ego? Intuition feels calm, even when it's telling you to do something bold. Ego feels frantic and pushy. Intuition is patient. Ego is urgent. Intuition comes with a sense of peace, even if there's also excitement or nervousness. Ego comes with anxiety and doubt. Intuition says, this is your path. Ego says, you have to do this or else. When you get a true intuitive hit, there's a quality of knowing that's unmistakable. It's not a hope or a wish or a preference. It's simply a knowing. You just know. And even if your mind immediately starts arguing with it, even if your mind starts listing all the reasons why it won't work or it's not practical or it's too risky, underneath all that mental chatter, the knowing remains. That's intuition. And here's something else I want you to understand. Your intuition is always guiding you toward your purpose, toward what you're here to do, toward the fullest expression of who you really are. It's not random guidance. It's not just helping you avoid problems or make good choices, although it does that too. It's trying to lead you toward your destiny. You have a unique contribution to make in this world. You have gifts and talents and perspectives that no one else has in quite the same combination. And there's a way for you to express those gifts, a way for you to be of service, a way for you to create and contribute and make a difference that's perfectly suited to who you are. Your intuition knows what that is. Your intuition is constantly trying to steer you in that direction, but you have to be willing to follow it, even when it takes you off the beaten path, even when it leads you away from what you thought you wanted or what you thought you were supposed to do, even when it doesn't match other people's expectations or definitions of success. Your intuition doesn't care about impressing anyone. It doesn't care about status or money or approval. It only cares about aligning you with your true path. And when you're on your true path, when you're aligned with your intuition, life flows differently. Synchronicities happen. The right doors open. The right people show up. Things that would have been struggles become easier. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect or problem-free. It means you're working with the current instead of against it. You're moving in harmony with the universe instead of fighting it. Think of a river. When you try to swim upstream, it's exhausting. You're using all your energy just to make a little bit of progress, and as soon as you stop struggling, you get pushed right back. But when you turn around and swim with the current, suddenly everything is effortless. You're still swimming, you're still making effort, but the river is helping you. That's what it's like when you follow your intuition. You're aligning with a force that's much bigger than you, and it carries you forward. Now, following your intuition doesn't mean sitting around and waiting for signs. It doesn't mean being passive. It means being active and engaged with your life, but from a place of inner guidance rather than outer pressure. It means taking action, but action that feels inspired rather than forced. It means moving forward, but in a direction that feels true to you rather than a direction that someone else says you should go. And sometimes your intuition will tell you to do things that seem small or insignificant. It might tell you to call someone, to take a different route home, to pick up a certain book, to go to a certain place. And these little nudges often lead to big things. You call someone and they tell you about an opportunity. You take a different route and avoid an accident. You pick up a book and it contains exactly the information you needed. You go to a place and you meet someone who changes your life. This is how God works through your intuition. It's not usually big, dramatic interventions. It's these gentle nudges, these small course corrections that add up over time to completely change the trajectory of your life. But you have to be paying attention. You have to be willing to follow the guidance even when you don't see the bigger picture. And that's another thing about intuition. It doesn't usually give you the whole plan, it gives you the next step. It says, do this now, but it doesn't necessarily tell you why or where it's leading. This requires faith. This requires trust. This requires being willing to take one step without knowing what the second step will be. Most people want guarantees. They want to see the whole staircase before they take the first step. But that's not how intuition works. That's not how life works. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, trusting that the next step will be revealed when you need it. This is what it means to live by faith. Not blind faith, but faith in your inner guidance, faith in the divine intelligence that's directing your life. And let me tell you something. The more you follow your intuition, the stronger it gets. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more developed it becomes. At first, you might only get occasional flashes of insight. But as you pay attention and trust what you receive, the guidance becomes clearer, more frequent, more specific. You develop a constant dialogue with your higher self, with God. You start living from the inside out instead of the outside in. Instead of looking to the world to tell you what to do, you look within. Instead of basing your decisions on what's popular or expected or safe, you base them on what feels true to you. Instead of trying to figure everything out with your mind, you tap into a wisdom that's far greater than your mind. And this changes everything. It changes how you make decisions. It changes what you pursue. It changes who you spend time with. It changes how you see yourself and your place in the world. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You stop feeling lost or confused. You start feeling guided, supported, connected to something vast and loving and intelligent that's always with you, always helping you, always showing you the way. This is what it means to have a relationship with God. Not a relationship based on beliefs or doctrines or rituals, although those can have their place, but a living, breathing, moment-to-moment relationship where you're constantly receiving guidance and responding to it, where you're constantly in conversation with the divine intelligence that created you and knows you better than you know yourself. And God speaks to everyone this way, not just to special people or holy people or enlightened people, to everyone. The voice of intuition is available to every single human being because we're all connected to the same source. We're all expressions of the same creative intelligence. We all have access to the same infinite wisdom. The question is not whether God is speaking to you. The question is whether you're listening. The question is whether you've learned to quiet your mind enough to hear the quiet voice. The question is whether you trust yourself enough to follow what you hear. And if you've been ignoring your intuition, if you've been overriding it or dismissing it or explaining it away, it's not too late. It's never too late to start listening. That voice hasn't gone away. It's still there right now, waiting patiently for you to turn your attention to it. All you have to do is get quiet, tune in, and ask. Ask and you will receive. This isn't just a nice saying, it's a law of how the universe works. When you ask with genuine openness and willingness to hear, the answer comes, not always in the form you expect, not always immediately, but it comes. Sometimes the answer is a feeling. Sometimes it's a thought that pops into your head. Sometimes it's something you overhear or read or see that suddenly makes everything clear. The universe, God, your higher self, is always responding to you. You're never alone in this. You're never without guidance. Even in your darkest moments, even when you feel lost and confused, the guidance is there. You just have to remember to check in, to ask, to listen. And when you do this consistently, when you make it a practice to tune into your intuition every day, multiple times a day, you begin to live a completely different quality of life. You stop second-guessing yourself so much. You stop getting paralyzed by decisions. You stop feeling like you have to have all the answers figured out. You relax into a trust that you're being guided, that you're on your path, that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This doesn't mean you become complacent or stop growing. Actually, the opposite happens. When you're aligned with your intuition, you grow faster than ever because you're not wasting energy going in wrong directions. You're not spending years pursuing things that aren't meant for you. You're moving efficiently toward what is meant for you, toward the fullest expression of your potential. And along the way, you start to notice how magical life really is. You start to see the perfection in everything. You start to recognize that even the things that seemed like mistakes or setbacks at the time were actually part of a bigger plan, leading you to exactly where you needed to be. You start to see the hand of God in everything, not as some distant puppet master pulling strings, but as an intelligence that's woven into the fabric of your life, guiding you from within. This is living in partnership with the divine. This is co-creating your life with God. You bring your willingness, your effort, your humanity, and God brings the wisdom, the guidance, the grace that makes everything possible. Together, there's nothing you can't handle. Nowhere. You can't go, nothing you can't create. Your intuition is God's gift to you. It's the communication system that allows you to stay connected to your source, to stay aligned with your purpose, to stay on your path no matter what's happening around you. It's the most valuable tool you have for navigating this life. More valuable than your education, more valuable than your connections, more valuable than your experience. Because all those things are external. They can be lost or taken away. But your intuition is internal. It's part of you. It can never be lost or taken away. It's always there, always accessible, always ready to guide you if you're willing to listen. So I encourage you, starting today, starting right now, make a commitment to yourself to listen to your intuition. Make a commitment to quiet your mind regularly so you can hear that still small voice. Make a commitment to trust what you feel even when it doesn't make logical sense. Make a commitment to follow the nudges. Take the inspired actions. Go where you're being called to go. You might not understand why. You might not see how it's all going to work out. But trust the process. Trust the guidance. Trust that the same intelligence that's keeping your heart beating and the planet spinning knows what it's doing in your life too. And watch what happens. Watch how your life begins to align. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how problems resolve. Watch how you start to feel more peaceful, more confident, more certain of your path. Watch how you start to experience the flow, the synchronicity, the grace that comes from living in alignment with your intuition. This is not some new age fantasy. This is how life is meant to be lived. This is what it means to be fully human and fully connected to the divine at the same time. This is your birthright. This is what's possible for you when you remember who you really are and reconnect with the source of wisdom that's always within you. God is speaking to you right now through your intuition. The question is, are you listening? Are you willing to trust what you hear? Are you ready to follow where it leads? Because on the other side of that willingness, on the other side of that trust, is a life beyond anything your thinking mind could plan or imagine. A life of purpose, of meaning, of contribution, a life that's uniquely yours, perfectly suited to who you really are. That life is waiting for you. Your intuition is the map that will take you there. All you have to do is follow it, one step at a time, one choice at a time, one moment at a time. And as you do, you'll find yourself becoming more and more of who you were always meant to be. You'll find yourself living from a place of inner peace and outer purpose. You'll find yourself experiencing the joy and the freedom that comes from being aligned with the divine will, which is not separate from your own true will, but is actually the deepest expression of it. So listen to that voice within you. Trust it. Honor it. Follow it. It's been waiting your whole life for you to pay attention. It has so much to show you, so much to teach you, so much to give you. It's the voice of love, the voice of wisdom, the voice of God speaking directly to your heart, guiding you home to yourself, guiding you forward into the magnificent life you came here to live. Every single day and every single moment, you have the opportunity to check in with your intuition and let it guide you. You have the opportunity to choose alignment over resistance, trust over fear, inner wisdom over outer noise. And every time you make that choice, you strengthen the connection. Every time you honor your intuition, you deepen your relationship with the divine. Every time you follow that inner guidance, you take another step toward becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. This is the path. This is the way. This is how you live a life that matters, a life that's true, a life that's yours. Not by following someone else's map or someone else's rules or someone else's definition of success, but by following the guidance that comes from within, the voice of God speaking through your intuition, showing you the way that only you can walk, calling you toward the destiny that only you can fulfill. So trust yourself. Trust that inner knowing. Trust that quiet voice. It's the wisest teacher you'll ever have, the most faithful friend you'll ever know, the truest guide you'll ever follow. It's God whispering in your ear every moment of every day, telling you exactly what you need to know, showing you exactly where you need to go, helping you become exactly who you were always meant to be. Listen. Trust, follow, and watch your life transform into something more beautiful than you ever dreamed possible. Because that's what happens when you let God speak to you through your intuition and you have the courage to listen. That's what happens when you stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. That's what happens when you remember that you're not alone, you're not lost, you're not without guidance. You have everything you need right inside you, right now, in this moment. Your intuition is waiting, God is waiting, your highest life is waiting. All you have to do is tune in, turn inward, and trust what you find there. The rest will unfold naturally, beautifully, perfectly as it was always meant to. This is your invitation. This is your reminder. This is your truth. You are guided. You are loved. You are being led to exactly where you need to be, one intuitive nudge at a time. Trust it, follow it, live it, and become the magnificent being you came here to be.